we got this tweet from Krystal. This is hilarious. For me personally, I'll take the candidate with a regrettable tattoo over one who has steadfastly supported a genocide. Graham Plattner's Nazi Totenkopf tattoo, the death's head, was used by the Nazi SS division responsible for running concentration camps. Holy what?
This person has influence?
Oh, bro, she's got a massive podcast.
Yeah. She would never extend this benefit of the doubt to any Republican candidate. These people lack any principle. There's no consistency. And I think that's the issue with people like this.
Yeah, like when...
They're nakedly partisan. I mean...
Pete Hegseth had his Days Volt tattoo, and they were like, he's going to use the Pentagon to, like, start a new crusade. It's like, first of all, it'd be base. But second of all, like, what are we doing here? You know? Like, this is absolutely nakedly
No, the
partisan.
response is, oh, come on. We wish.
Yeah, we're going to do 3 or 4.
That's awful. When?
Yeah, that's terrible.
New crusade.
But the thing to that point is, like, it's like when I point it all the time. It's like when you point out like the accounts like Defiant L's, which I think ended up being like foreign influence anyways. But the point is, it shows you all of the hypocrisy. It doesn't matter. That's the point. Like, they don't have any intellectual or moral consistency because power doesn't equate to that.
You just know Krystal Ball believes people are Nazis for a lot less.
The point is, there's a guy with the literal Totenkopf. It's the actual Nazi tattoo on his chest. He got it removed, by the way, but he had it for 18 years. It was not something that looked like it. It was it. And Krystal Ball is like, I'm totally fine with the guy who, for 18 years, had this Nazi tattoo on his chest and never got it removed.
Because he now parrots my beliefs.
Because he's anti-Israel.
These are the same people who, when Elon Musk did his hello gesture, were convinced. Ryan Graham, Krystal Ball were convinced that this was, you know, an overture to Nazis, or they're trying to ingratiate themselves with Nazi. But no, a literal Nazi tattoo is just like, oh no, come on guys, like, it's just he was younger, it's just a skull and crossbones. What are you guys talking about? Elon Musk, no, we could read into his intentions with his arm wave. But no, for this guy with the literal Nazi iconography, it's like, oh no, we'll give this guy a pass. And why? It's because he's running against a Bernie Sanders type in the Senate, in Maine. I will say this,
he's a self-proclaimed communist, Antifa, and anti-Israel.
I will say this, he is definitely only trying to get ahead of the Oppo research now. That's why he addressed this on Pod Save America, because they knew that this Oppo research was being shopped around. The primary isn't until next summer, I believe in June. So this is his political strategy of trying to get out ahead of it, and he's hoping in, 8 or 9 months, nobody's going to give a crap. That's what's going on here, by the way.
Bro,
that's
the
his
left
political
is defending
calculus.
him now.
Totally, yeah.
That's insane.
But he's thinking it's better for it to come out now than in 10 months. Also, one other funny part about this story is that this guy actually also was involved with like training Antifa people on how to shoot guns. If you want to pull up that story, he has an Antifa flag while he's shooting with people like doing furry ears.
He's somehow both a Nazi and a communist at the same time.
It's mass appeal. You know, build a broad coalition. You know,
What's the
Big
consistent strand?
Both ends of the horseshoe together at last.
Yeah, the horseshoe party.
He hates Jews, but he's not a Nazi. Wait, what?
Right, yeah.
Well, I think he was just looking for a kosher way to hate Jews. It was like, it's not acceptable to hate Jews via being a Nazi. But on the far left,
Jews so much, he becomes a communist.
I think it's actually this simple. I think there are a lot of guys who are neo-Nazis who hated Jews, and they realized it's socially acceptable on the left, so they should join the left because the left, that's the one thing they care about.
Fuentes would get away with a lot more of his rhetoric if he came out as a commie, if he was a Hassan Piker type.
You know, the streets are calling this the woke Reich. That's what their streets are calling.
I mean, the use of the term Nazi was one of the, like, it's a dumb play by the left, because I went to the Tesla takedown protests and I spoke to people that were on the outer edges of the protest. Okay, people who were like, I hate that Elon is a part of the administration, but I want to support this. And I was like, how do you feel about the term Nazi? He's like, oh no, I hate it. But here it is, the crowd's like chanting, right? So this guy is just a normal liberal, you know, like vanilla pudding liberal, whatever you want to call it. And he's just like, no, I hate this. And then I spoke to someone who's trans, and she was like, yeah, the Democrat Party, they need to get their shit together and whatever. So the left just doesn't have a single message like the right does right now. It's rough for them.
Well, the right doesn't really have a single message either, but the right doesn't have the threat of force against you for defying. So what happens is America Fest says, Timcast, do your show on stage. And then you end up with someone as crazy as Ian, who I don't even understand what his idea. He's pro-death penalty. He wants to spread democracy around, but he looks like a hippie who talks about DMT and graphene. And he's actually debating. Then you got Luke, an anarchist or whatever Luke describes himself as. You've got me, more of a moderate. And you've got Charlie. All these different views having a discussion and a debate. Because that's why I say that red cluster was America. The left and the right is there. We agree we love America. America is a constitutional republic. We have disagreements. We agree to go on stage. We agree to have these conversations. The left says, if you defy us, you're a right-wing troll. You're the enemy, and you'll be shut out.
Right, but my only rebuttal to that is that I think if you got a round table of like every faction of the right, whatever, most would agree, if not all would agree, we should close the border. The left,
Agreed.
the only thing they can agree on is that they hate Trump.
But but that's my point.
Yeah.
Everybody who is pro the Constitutional Republic of America thinks America should have a border. That's what defines support for America. So that's what I'm saying. You can have a pro-choice, pro-universal health care, progressive tax individual debating an economic laissez-faire, capitalist who is a moral traditionalist. And then when they're like, but we love America. We're just trying to figure out what America should be. When you ask basic things like, should America have borders? They go, well, of course. Otherwise, what is America? The left says, burn it all down, destroy it all.
That's why they've started re-implementing American flags at their protests and stuff like that. Like somebody sent them a memo. They're like, you're like losing out a lot of business by having communist flags, but not even any American flags.
Yeah, well, that's the big tension is like Plattner. All that there's a lot of aesthetic variation on the left. So Plattner is like the tough hicklib, like, hey, don't misgender my daughter. But it's like still just like a rebranding of the same ideas. And then you got like Zoran eating with his hands, and then you got like Bernie, he's like a communist. So they have a variation in aesthetics, but like fundamentally they're just trying to repackage the same garbage ideas. On the right, there's actually kind of more of like an aesthetic, it's like concise, but you get a vast variation in ideology.
And when it comes to their large-scale ideas, they're forced to fall in line anyways, like especially as the far left gains more control in the party, right? So how many of there was a time when they believed that like Nancy Pelosi and like the old school Democrats were going to be able to keep the new left, well, not the new left, but the new leftists in line in the party. But now if you don't fall in line with climate change, if you don't fall in line with open borders, if you won't willingly misinterpret the idea of illegal immigrant as just an immigrant, then you are an enemy to the party. So yeah, they do all coalesce around the idea that they hate Trump, but Trump is just the figurehead for, which is like what Tim said earlier, gay race communism.
Bro, did you guys see Nick Shirley's video where he asks the guy holding up the sign, do you think illegal immigrants should be deported? You see this one?
Yeah.
And the guy goes, illegal? Yes. And the one next to him goes, whoa. And then he looks at her like, what? And she's like... And then Nick's like, do you think illegal immigrants should be deported? And she goes, they're not illegal.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, he says they should be. And then the guy's like, well, and then Nick asks him, he's like, if someone enters the country illegally, should they be deported? And the guy goes, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, like we've harped on this issue.
Actually,
but
I should play that video.
It is an unbelievably powerful tool to misconstrue language on purpose. Because first of all, 75% of the people are normies who don't know what you're talking about and will not look into it any further. The rest of them know that using the wrong term is a way to wield power over people because they will not understand the difference.
Let me play this clip from Nick Shirley. Let's see if we can get the audio playing, right? There we go.
Deportation of illegal immigrants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. She's saying she doesn't.
If they're illegal, then yeah.
Do you not support the deportation of illegal migrants? And why not? He does and you don't.
It's not illegal.
Okay. If someone crossed over the border illegally, should they be deported?
I'm not too sure about that.
Hope I didn't just ruin their relationship.
The top comment says when you fake political ideology to riz the huzz.
Real.
Bro.
This guy came legally, and he's like, nah, you need to come in here legally, brother. That's what this guy's thinking.
It is like the changing of the definitions of things, and also changing the definition of things and inventing new words. So what's difficult for the left is that they can't have camaraderie around a message because they keep inventing new terminology. So like one protester that I exposed, she teaches gender expansive youth, right? That term should not exist. It shouldn't exist. So now people on the left have to be like, okay, they have to learn what that is, and then they have to figure out a way to support it. It's just tough.
Yeah.
It's like when you use if you have to argue with somebody about the idea of racism, you have a completely definition of the idea of racism than somebody who learned that term in college.
Yeah.
Or simple things like just changing homeless to houseless.
Yeah.
You know, just those little
Unhoused.
things.
I say house retard.
Right.
That's a Casey Sharnima joke, but I don't know if she intended to create a phrase that is offensive, but I'm gonna use it.
Yeah, even like their their boiler point, they don't even have agreement on like defund the police, and like Zoran advocated for that, and then he got pressed on it, and he's like, yeah, I'm actually not gonna fire any cops, and then I had all this then he had all this vitriol like to his left, and I'm like, dude, this guy's like basically a socialist, and even that they're still like purity testing him, like it's so ridiculous what's going on.
I do think there are fractures in the Democrat Party that are irreparable, like on a handful of issues. I think we will be seeing a major realignment in the Democrat Party and maybe even in the Republican Party. But the Democrat right now is not cohesive. The Democrat Party is not cohesive, and I don't think it's tenable, like as a group, for them to stay together.
And but like just one like quick thing is that's where Barry Weiss comes in, is because my point about the gender expansive youth. So I know like people will watch a video of mine and they might be on the left and they'll see that I expose someone who teaches gender expansive youth and they'll say, look, I don't like Trump, but I can turn to someone like Barry Weiss who is on the left who doesn't agree with the term gender expansive youth. That's what I mean by the rescue mission that she's.
But you
pulling.
can't salvage the Democratic Party. I agree with you, but look at what Newsom, Pritzker, and these other people vying for power do. They're going to pander to these crackpots.
Well, I think it's these three issues that are seriously fracturing the Democrat Party. It's the trans stuff, it's the immigration and open borders, and then Israel. Those are like the three main factors that you will find people in the same party on opposite sides of. And that's some of the biggest questions that our politics are frankly dealing with right now. So that is what will continue to be unsustainable in the Democrat Party. We're going to see more primaries largely built around these issues in the Democrat Party. And hopefully the Republicans can use it to their benefit.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.